rain had just begun to ease when Mrs. Oliver James stepped off the Metrolink platform in downtown St. Louis. At 63, the retired judge still carried herself with the quiet authority that once commanded courtrooms. Today, though, her black coat was buttoned not for business, but for leisure. She was headed to the Old Courthouse Museum, a place she had not visited since her early days as a young public defender. The courthouse's domed silhouette loomed ahead, its green copper roof catching the afternoon light. As she walked across the damp cobblestones, she thought about how many verdicts and stories had been sealed within those walls. It was here, she knew, that Dred and Harriet Scott once fought for their freedom. The echoes of history were not lost on her. They never had been. Inside, the air was cool and faintly scented with polished wood. A security guard nodded politely as she entered. She paused in the grand rotunda, looking up at the painted dome, and for a moment, she could almost hear the murmur of 19th century court proceedings. Mrs. Oliver moved slowly through the first floor exhibits, stopping at a case that displayed letters and legal briefs from landmark cases. Her fingers, gloved though they were, itched to touch the paper. Not out of disrespect for preservation, but out of a reverence for the human weight behind the words. She remembered long nights on the bench, reviewing evidence, writing opinions that would alter the course of people's lives. On the second floor, she found herself in an empty courtroom, preserved in the style of the 1850s. She slid into one of the hard wooden chairs and let her eyes drift to the judge's bench. It struck her that the view from the bench had never truly changed, no matter the century. The same sense of responsibility, the same silent challenge to weigh truth and consequence. As she sat, a faint creak of the floorboards behind her made her turn. A man in a faded gray suit and old-fashioned cravat stood at the doorway, his face pale and unreadable. "Ma'am," he said in a voice low and steady, "court's about to begin." Before she could answer, a shadow crossed the room. The visitor was gone, leaving nothing but the faint smell of pipe smoke. She blinked, unsure if her mind was playing tricks, but when she looked toward the bench again, she swore she saw a faint outline. A judge's robe, a gavel resting in midair. A chill passed through her, but not fear. It was the deep, uncanny knowledge that the past lingered here, not just in documents and plaques, but in spirit. When she finally left the courtroom, the rotunda's echoes felt different. Outside, the sun had broken through the clouds, casting the courthouse in warm light. Mrs. Oliver took one last look at the building and with a small, knowing smile whispered to herself, "Some courts never adjourn." Then she walked on, the city alive around her,